Hello, welcome to session 399 DevLog. In this one, it's a bit different, trying to showcase some server client stuff. So I'll just start with this window right here. Song Creator Vision JSON Input Output, client side folder. Hold on. Hello, welcome to session 399 DevLog. And this version is a client folder that I have open, and then I also have server stuff open. Hold on. Hello, welcome to session 399 DevLog. This session I have here something to show a little different. I have different windows open. Just going to start with this first one, the most biggest window here. Well, other than the song visualizer behind it, but this folder is called Song Creator Vision JSON Input Output. You have to excuse if it sounds like echoing. I can't really tell if it's not on this microphone. But anyways, we're in this this client folder. Hello. Hello. Welcome to session 399. I have a bunch of things on the screen here, including a reflection on my eyeglasses. And I have clients and server windows open because this project is supported between multiple devices. And also, before we go any further, you're going to have to excuse this video. It's not really scripted. And you might hear an echo or something with the audio setup. I just wanted to try to provide more context on some of the stuff behind the scenes in this project, other than just having a video without any context or just a blob of text to read. So I'm kind of just hoping to share some stuff without wearing too much of presentation. I was hoping to demo some stuff here and just show current status because I have a lot of videos of using this software, but I may not have enough communication as to it, what it is, and how I use it, and what I'm making the project for. So the project Song Visualizer, Song Creator, it's been about, well, let's just say that there's a GitHub project that I've been working on. And what I do is I upload it by date. I have dates in my branches. Let's excuse the reflection on the glasses here. What I do is I have a private GitHub repository, and that's where my project is for this Python, PyGuitar Pro, Pygame project. If you're not familiar with Pygame, Python, it's surface level stuff. But I implemented OpenGL, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that I could dive into overall, but this specific video was aimed at server client file synchronization between, well, I have open here on my screen this song creator vision JSON input output folder. This is a client folder. And when user starts the program, they're asked to define a path to a folder for this JSON input output. And the file structure, folder formatting, I just made a giant README the other day, but all of this just requires context. So on the screen here, you see different tuning folders, and then input frequencies, output frequencies, manifest, and if you go to the open GP5 file on the program here, the way I support this file structure is tuning folder, artist folder, and here is optional folder or list of songs, GP5. So my artist folder, I have optional folders. Inside the optional folder is the actual GP5. And you notice each song listed has stats, times played, last played, average playtime. So those song information, times played and all that is one JSON format. Then we have a GP5 JSON format in the manifest. I think I may be confusing it. I mean, for anyone unfamiliar with the project, which is pretty much, I haven't shared this with, well, it's a private project, so I'm not really describing in the correct order, but you just have to bear with me. Welcome to session 399, DevLog. I don't really have a script here. I'm just hoping to demo some stuff. This is my 15th, however many try at this video. Gonna try to get through it. So I'm hoping to aim this video particularly on client-server synchronization between 3 different particular categories of files to synchronize. There's Guitar Pro 5 files. There's the Guitar Pro 5 JSON files. And there's song stats JSON files. But to provide some context with this program, you go to the Open Guitar Pro 5 screen, and you're presented with a tuning folder selection. So let's go to E Standard. Then you go to the artist folder. So let's go to Allman Brothers Band. Then inside of here is either optional folder or list of Guitar Pro 5 songs. Let's go back. I just did right click. Go to my artist folder where I have optional folders, albums, and then a list of Guitar Pro 5 files. And you notice each folder, subfolder, and file has times played, last played, average playtime. These stats are also those Guitar Pro 5 JSON files. And then if I go to any of these songs, I have guitar input, which is tied to stats. You play the song, you get the stats, and then these are JSON file song stats that are Log Jsons that are saved on client and server. Well, synchronized. That's what I'm hoping to demo. I'm trying to provide a TLDR format. Surface level stuff here. I'm trying not to get too deep. With that said, I've just wanted to demo the server client upload download. And you can see on the bottom right here, folder server directory listed is empty. And right here on the left, the log, server log. So the way this is working, this is Python Flask, Python Flask app. And there is a user login between the server client, and each user has a server ID based on their login. So the path on the server is, the Flask app, user uploads, user ID, and from there, the same type of file format as the client. Tuning folder, artist folder, songs or optional folder, song stats subfolder. That's one thing I may have not gotten into right here. So on the clients folder, we see this is the JSON output. This is not the Guitar Pro 5 files. It's just formatted to be the same. It's on the client right now, they're separated. So there's another copy of Guitar Pro files in the same subfolders in a different folder. So let's just go to eStandard and Brothers Band. And this is just, like I said, this is just the one second, let me make the window bigger, because I wanted to show the song stats subfolder. So these, like I said, this is on the server. You'll see later where the Guitar Pro files and JSON files are in the same folder, but on the client here, I separated them. Right now, there's a JSON file that has a user settings configuration for different paths, and that's another topic. I just wanted to share the server client sync. But anyways, so this is the JSON input output folder for all the same files that you're seeing on the program. So this is like also the tempo profiles. So that's another thing. If you're not aware, which I'm sure no one is because I don't describe these things, I'm trying to work on sharing more details on this project. So you go to the tempo screen, and on the tempo screen, this idea is based on when I just had to change this logic recently. So when you open the Guitar Profile with this project, it saves information on the tempos from that Guitar Pro 5 file. And what this does, it saves a default JSON file of that information of each measure and its tempo, which is interesting that PyGuitar Pro has some tempo adjustments that could occur in one measure arrangement but not the other. In other words, you have to keep the tempo synchronized between arrangements, but that's another story. So what this, I'm trying not to get too off topic. This is a pretty big project, and trying to keep on the surface. But this tempo screen has profiles for different tunings. You could adjust the tuning for manually if you want per measure. You could view the measure details. Just edit the tunings and apply it, or go back, and you could add. This is sorted by grouping, and then the group splits if you edit. I don't want to demo this tempo screen right now. I could do that later, but just want to say these profile, you could edit. So let's say I want to do dynamic tempo. Oh, I like this dynamic tempo. I could save this profile, and then I could come back later and load that profile. That just, the profiles are different tempo. It's like, oh, I like this playthrough at this speed, let me save it. Anyways, so you got their stats, JSONs, you got your profile JSONs, you got your tempo dynamic screen going on, the note log JSONs to alter your tempo dynamically based on your playthroughs hit and miss. You got your Guitar Pro 5 files, you got your Guitar Pro 5 JSON files for the stats of times played and all that. And it has to be the correct folders between the client and the server without caring which operating system is being used, because in all cases, the server is Linux. I'm using a Mac to play this, and I'm programming it on the Windows as well. And it works in between each device. Each of my devices I use with this project, I hit the sync button, it uploads the files that need to be uploaded, downloads the ones that needs to be uploaded. But I'm trying to make this video of discussing the logic behind that server client file synchronization. The whole process. It's a lot of steps. It's one of those not invented here syndrome type of things. It's like, yeah, this is like a Guitar Hero Rocksmith type of project, right? You plug your guitar in, you see the notes, excuse me, you see the notes, you play your real guitar, you determine, did I hit the note? And then you learn every time you play, because every time you play is different. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. Or sometimes it's a new song to learn. Or sometimes it's a new song to play for the 50th time. Whatever. But point being, where's my train of thought? I'm trying to get into the server client file synchronization. Because at first, my first iteration of this, well, how do you determine, first of all, what's to synchronize, right? Because every time I play, if you go to the stats are by song name and month, day, year, hour, minute might be, or just month, day, year. I forget. Don't feel like reading it too much, but it's a lot of files. Like every time I play, every playthrough, every session, when I sync, I see like uploaded 5, 10 different JSONs. So I want to start with how I first implemented is, well, there's a server, there's a client, and how are you gonna, at first I started with the, like for months I had this format that just until recently, where I had the New Year's to update it to be more efficient, which I still have to expand on. But the first version, I did something like, okay, just get a list of the files from the server, and as for the current files and like Guitar Pro files, let's say they're already uploaded from the user, because it's different phases, right? Nothing's there, you uploaded everything. Something's there, you sync what's missing. Determine upload, download. But before, I would have a network call for, hold on, I wrote a little script here to read. Manifest, screw that script. That script I'll put in the description of YouTube. But basically, before I would have network calls for each song, and it's like a network request from the server to client for each one, I believe. And that is not the best way to do it. So like the process of how it's now checking the second version is, well, I'm sorry, it's a lot of details. I might not be accurately portraying the first version. Let me just stick to the second version, because the first version, I can't recall if it did a network request for each file to a certain extent. Like there's a lot of detail. I have like 3 different versions of this same exact logic for the different formats, and it can get confusing. So the second version that I just modified is using the manifest. So manifest is like a list of the files and their information, something called a checksum. Checksum is like a format of numbers and letters and in a string that is generated by the contents of the file itself, which is interesting because the server and the client could both create a checksum, and based on the file content, if the file contents match, they create that same string format, numbers and letters, and they'll match. However, there's something else to consider. Let's say that is true. What do you do from there? Do you upload or you download? And in the first version, I didn't really work out that logic, in that sometimes it would upload. It would upload if it wasn't there, but would it download or would it upload if it was there between the two? Which one was new? And it took until that second version to iron that out more. In the second version, what I reference is just a recent update I did a couple days ago on New Year's 2024. Session 398.7-ish between Song Visualizer version 8 ABC. I went through 3 versions around there, I think. But at that point, it was really fun to overhaul a system that was also... you know what? This video was supposed to be pinpointed at one thing, but I have to expand. There's also logic that I had to update recently with that New Year's update for fixing pre-existing behavior, because it was interesting on this particular song, Hope Is. When you go to the tempo screen, there's something interesting about this song in particular compared to mostly every other song that I have in my Guitar Pro 5 file list library, and that is it has repeating bar measures. And which is okay, but there's different types of repeating bar measures in the Pi Guitar Pro logic. There's single measure repeating versus multiple measures. There's a difference, especially if you mix them up. And the interesting about this song, it says measures, it goes up to 104. And that's true, but that's because I'm counting the repeating bar measures. Because if you open up the actual Guitar Pro 5 file, it's actually like 84 measures. And I know that because I've been going on this song programming-wise, getting the Guitar Pro file open into this program. Because what my program does, it extracts all of that information from the song. Every note, every string, every measure, every tempo adjustment. And that was the key thing. It's the tempo that I had to adjust the logic. But let's go back to the surface, shall we? So what I wanted to demo in particular in this project is the Open Guitar Pro 5 file screen, synchronize button, and I'll kick it off. So 1 second. So first it's going to go through the Guitar Pro 5 files. So what it does, it goes through the checksum for server and client. The server, let's refresh the file directory. So it created a manifest GP5 file, and now we can see it already uploading in progress. This was not here a second ago. If you refresh, it might be more. No, I'll get there eventually. But so far, yeah, it's on the Guitar Pro 5 file. So right now, it is calling individual network calls for each upload. But it did a single call to check every single file from the client to compare with the server through a manifest. It downloads the server's client. The client downloads the server's manifest. And, well, it doesn't do it that immediately. It does other steps. It creates the manifest. Then it downloads it. Then it also creates a client manifest. Does that by looking at several things to determine which is newer, server, client. Let's see. So now it's doing the GP5 Json. And that on the server is a little different file paths than the client, in that it's in the same folder, GP5 files. You go to one of the, hold on, I had to refresh. See, I refreshed and it showed the full thing. Let me go back, because there's more if I refresh. See, refresh. It's every artist now. Didn't update manually. Sorry, I had to refresh on the upload here. Refresh. Now see, now it's up. It's got the Guitar Pro 5 files, play info, profiles, default tempos, all that information in the same folder in the server version. Now maybe the client can have the preference of saving everything in one folder. I haven't tried setting all paths on the same folder in the client. I wanted them separate. Who knows, it may change. But it does take a while to go through every upload and download individually. So in this third version I'm working on, I'm trying to work on batch uploading, batch downloading. Send every file to upload and download in a single network call, which I was able to do a batch download on the client just now, but there's still more to be done for the batch uploading. And the batch downloading I only did for the note logs, because there's a lot of note logs, they accumulate so much. I also adjusted more logic recently. Overall, I added a sustain scalar. Sometimes 100% sustain visualization length may be inaccurate. Like right now, the sustain is calculated to display the full note length if it's not a palm mute. Well, that was the previous version, but now I also added staccato note visualization. Slightly similar to a palm mute, where palm mute has X's on the bass note. The staccato has an X on the sustain. Palm mute has a less sustain as well. Palm mute and staccato I gave the same division by 2 sustain length visual. But there's a user setting that they have, let's do a slider for the sustain note length visualization height. So let me go back to on this file view, I don't have song stats folder, but if I refresh, I might get it now, because it might be uploading. Let's see, refresh. Not yet. Let's see, that might be a different folder that has it. which ones are uploading right now. 3-dimensional. So let's go to mine, 3-dimensional, refresh, song stats. There we go. And that's also something else I changed semi-recently. I'm kind of concerned is because, well, I didn't play it recently. Like this December, see, last time I played was November. But sometime in December with the Kill Switch Engage playthroughs, go whenever this gets updated with song stats. Not yet. See, there's just so many. Just hasn't gotten the Kill Switch Engage yet. But there's some changes I made recently with the JSON note logs. See how long it takes for these note logs to update individually? Like, it'll be so much faster with a batch upload. Individual network calls. Anyways, there's stuff I introduced in the note logs that increased the file size, and I'm not sure to be concerned or not. I kind of am, because how large should a file size be for each note log? Right now it contains information, every fret, every measure, every string, every measure, tempo. If it's a chord, if it's a single note, it says every strings or frets. There's a lot. But what I introduced recently is timing. Did you play the note late, early, or on time? And I forget if I did anything else because I updated the stats screen around the same time. The stats screen compares with previous ones, just saying how you improved or not. It's still on the E flat, E standards. Hasn't gotten the drop C as far as the client upload. So yeah, this is the uploading process. I'm gonna also, after this is done, I'm gonna delete some files from my client side and then show the downloading. And it should go fast for the stats downloading because the batch should work. Then again, it's very new. A couple hours old code. It's not has been tested as much as the manifest itself. So it's a lot to update server client, especially because on the server Flask app, I got to kill the server to place the updates that I want to see. I don't have a particular stage. I just have production, which is okay because I'm pretty much the only user right now. And the server, I think I'm at 6 gigs of file upload. I forget. And I forget how much these GP5 and JSON file uploads are too, but I gotta say, this is better than me having USB of different files transferring manually from different devices. When I could just have 3 different devices or more, click this sync button and have the logic determine, the files I need or not. Or I could make changes on one computer, have it on another, upload the file, guitar profile, synchronize it so easily. The only thing is, if I want to delete something, that's the pain. I still have to do that manually. I haven't written down how to... Oh, there we go. Now it's getting the drop C. Refresh. There we go. Song stats. So if you look at the file size, at December 29th, 281 kilobit. Like, I don't know if I should be concerned because, like, if we look at it, the ones before, they're much less, 118. But then again, that it's hard to pinpoint. Like each song is its own length and all that, but you can still kind of look at the averages. Well, you can't really look at the ones before. These may not be. There's some logic where I didn't implement before, where if you don't play the full song, it only saves like 10 measures or however much you play. I had to change it. Try to increase the performance to cache as much as possible before the game loop. So like before the game loop, I make the whole note log of the whole song, and then I do as little as performance as possible during the game loop in regards to how I update these JSONs. Let's look at the file sizes. Yeah, see now they're averaging 200, 2 to 300. And I don't know if that should be concerning or not. Every time you play, it just adds to the storage. But, oh well. It's hard to say how much more there is to go to upload. Wow, look at that memory used. I've never seen it that high. M1 Max MacBook Pro, 30 gigs. When I'm streaming with the guitar in the program, it goes up to 25. But you can see why I want to implement batch uploading, because the more I play, it's going to increment the synchronization process on a new device in the current format, which is not ideal. It's not realistic or logical. But at the same time, it is functional. And how much of a priority is it? Gotta weigh how complex the code is. That's the thing about the not invented here syndrome, right? There could be libraries that already have this. But that's also the neat thing about programming. You could write it to do whatever you want, which is, I'm always looking for what to do in this project. Which is another thing what I was trying to get into earlier, is that the way I have my project structured on Git, I have branches for each commit sorted by date. So I could go back to 2021 October at the start, and any dates that I pushed since then, I could just search that date. It's like, oh, I remember I did this on this date. So yeah, there's a lot to say about that, but I wrote 2 albums on this project when it was only 2 or 3 months in. First album 1 month in, second album 2 or 3 months in. And then I've been writing this song creator since then. Since 2022 January, I haven't made another song with the song creator yet. And yeah, there's so many different note logs on this kill switch engage. Let's see how many files so far. See, it goes back all the way to July. 370 files, 45 megs so far. And what's interesting is the whole note frequency, note log through the guitar input. Dropsy has, well, along with, okay, so let me start at E standard. E standard, that I define frequencies for strings and frets around June, July, May. I think around May I did the E standard, and June, July started to do the drop C or something. Because for starters, there's a lot of logic around defining frequencies for guitar to determine whether a note has been hit or missed, on top of the timing, on top of the note log. The actual definitions of string, fret, frequency, single note chords. Quite a task. And a whole topic itself. But that is something that is also synchronized between the server and client. And hey, it's done synchronizing. So let's go back to the user uploads user ID folder for me, my user. Now it has manifest for stats, JSON, GP5 Json, and GP5. And then there's also input frequencies, output frequencies, which is something new that also that I did is to, okay, I'll try to keep this short. The way I define strings and fret frequencies for chords is I started with E standard. I manually defined the first fret. And from there, made an algorithm to calculate every fret after it. Because every fret after it accumulates by a certain amount. And there's so many chords, and I did them all just the first fret and made the algorithm to calculate each fret after, which is fine, works great to an extent. The thing is, some of the frequencies are really hard to define, which recently I implemented a chord input or chord detection screen to pull all the chords from the song and list its shape and frequency, and then I play and it says whether I detect it or not, which is great. I also have to work on displaying the undefined chords in the song, displaying them to define, which is this is a work in progress for. So there's a input frequency, output frequency folder. Input purpose is letting the user define input frequency without having hard-coded value. You change the JSON, you go in the program, you hit generate, it generates output. So let's go back. Input frequencies says base E standard. I'm not going to open it right now, but that's the chords list frequencies and all that for every fret. And then this is the drop C modification. It looks at the chord names from E standard, modifies its value only for drop C. You go to the output folder. These are the JSON files for our definitions of different chords and single notes for each different tunings. And the drop C calculations, as you can see, required manual definitions, which is, I mean, a lot of it required manual, but as much of it as I could offload, I did. But it's just a lot. There's some more chords that are undefined that I just haven't gotten to, and I take them as a miss, just so it doesn't error. Excuse me. But next up, if you're still with me, I know it's a long video, we go to delete some files from the client. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with deleting the song stats on Allman Brothers Band, as well as my folder with the optional folder, three-dimensional song stats. Because I'm trying to support optional folder and not optional folder. There's two examples of each, or one example of each. So I deleted them from the client. Then I'm gonna go to the, all right, if you go to Allman Brothers Band, it's a note stats, and the stats would be blank. I should have deleted it when it was there, when I had it open. But it's okay. I'll just have to go back there after I download it in the same session. So we go to sync. What I'm hoping for is a batch download. Oh, it'll go through the stats last right here. See, now it says it's downloading so fast. See? And then before it would download like, okay, downloading. But that time it was like, all downloading. Anyways, let's open the file path and go back. Three-dimensional. Bummer. Oh, wait, wrong folder. E-standard, Allman Brothers Band, song stats. That one worked. I just lost my spot a second ago. Let's go back to my folders, three-dimensional. I guess it's not here. That's not good. Hello again, and welcome to the future. I had to fix some bugs where it's not correctly downloading to the correct optional folder, so I'm here to retry. So we're going to end up deleting the Allman Brothers Band song stats folder. Don't know if you can see it because the way I cropped this window. Let me fix the cropping here on the window so you can see it more. And this key right here. So we're going to delete the Allman Brothers Band song stats, move to trash. And then we're going to delete the optional folder song stats from my own right here. And then we're going to re-download everything through the client. Sync, batch download testing, on the stats. I still have to do the batch downloading for the GP5 files, GP5 Json, and the batch uploading for each. But that was a batch download. And now we're going to go back to the file paths folder, and three-dimensional, it is there, an optional folder, song stats. Then we go back to the Allman Brothers Band, song stats are right here. All right, so hopefully I could get this video out. I know there's a lot to say. There's a lot I could keep elaborating on this project. There's a whole lot going on behind the scenes that I'm trying to share more. So it's user uploads 1 here. Anyways, I already showed the server stuff earlier. That's it for the client right now. So that showed the batch downloading really quick. And I'm just going to get back to the programming, try to get this video out ASAP. Thank you. Bye. See you.